former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. Ex-UT basketball All-American Tony White and former Alcoa basketball standout Dwayne Easter are here with us. Alabama and Tennessee are set to collide in a huge SEC matchup, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will fill us in on the latest high school basketball tournament scores, and will follow up with the top national sports news. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local sports. Today, Marcus visits with Joe Huff and Chris Clark of Parks and Recreation, and I will jump in and talk some UT basketball and then follow up and break down the SEC standings and today's schedule. We're happy you're here with us, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning to everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Sports Page.
Good morning, Mike.
Morning,
Show number 25.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, 25.
25. This is the 25th show of the season.
Yeah. Quarter of a century right here.
That's right.
1 year. Huh? Yeah. Well, let's get right into it. I've got a letter ripped this morning.
Oh, let's do it.
Gosh, it came over the ticket taper or whatever you call it on ESPN this morning, and I've got a letter rip, and I'd like to let rip, but I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I've got one already planned. And I hate to do it. I hate to do this, but I'm going to be on Danny White a little bit again this morning. I hate, because he's done such a great job over there at UT as athletic director, but you know, Nebraska backed out on him. You know, and
that's true.
Nebraska backed out on him in football for the 26 and 27 season, and he's a little hot under the collar. Danny Boy's a little hot under the collar on the deal. Doesn't like it at all. But anyway, they're going to give Nebraska, who wants out of the deal, $500,000 to terminate the home and away series in 2026 and 27 in football. And the athletic director at Nebraska, Troy Dannon, said upcoming renovations to the Cornhusker Stadium prompted the decision. And Vols athletic director Danny White, needless to say, was not happy with Nebraska's backing out of their contract. Some of his quotes was, Tennessee is not canceling this series. Nebraska did. We're very disappointed that they didn't want to play these games, especially this close to 2026. He told VolQuest that the cost should have been more than $500,000. But now when he wanted Army off the schedule, he just give the cadets $500,000.
That's true.
But now that was okay. But the $500,000 to Nebraska, obviously, he felt like it should have been a little bit more.
Depends on the situation.
I guess. And then he said you really can't pull an audible this late in the season, even though Tennessee played three. They had three late audibles on three canceled games, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. So it didn't that were really canceled before, later than this Nebraska deal. And Vol Nation, they're beside themselves all over the airways. So I mean, there was bukus of quotes, but I've picked 4 or 5 here because of the time element. But here's what they were saying: they grow their corn with chicken blank in Lincoln. Nebraska is tucking tail. Big Ten teams only want to play in the cold, and this is the one I like. They're scared. S-K-E-E-R-E-D. I like that one. That'd be a popular one out there in Nebraska. They'll like that one. They're scared, and we should never have scheduled them. They're no good. Shouldn't have scheduled them in the first place. Well, anyway, you've heard the old saying, what goes around comes around. And, well, like for Danny White, how does it feel to have your date stand you up? Because here's what Tennessee's done in the past. During the Derek Dooling coaching era, they were looking to get into a bowl game, and they had North Carolina on the schedule, as I recollect, and they decided that that wouldn't be a real good game if we're looking for our 6th win there, so we get bowl eligible. So they got rid of North Carolina, and I don't know who they put on there, but it wasn't a Power 5 school. I can tell you that right now. And in 2023, Brigham Young came down here, and they had a home and away with them, and they lost the game. If you remember right on the last play of the game, Brigham Young scored a long touchdown. I think it was a pass or something. And then we were set to go back out. Tennessee was set to go back out to play Brigham Young the next year. And they go, hey, hold on just a minute there, boys. I don't think we want to go out there and play. You know, you're going to have a pretty good team. I think they were scheduled. I think they were a top 10 team.
I think so.
And the air's thin out there. The air's thin out in Brigham Young, and we decided to pay them $2 million, and it didn't really mean much to us because $2 million is $2 million. So we scheduled Virginia. We decided to play Virginia over in Nashville and take that money and pay them off and then pocket, I guess, whatever was left over. And then we were all set to play Army in 2022, and that was a respectable series. You know, UT, they've played 8 times. Tennessee's won 5 of them, lost 2 of them, and tied 1 in the history of that deal. And they hadn't been scheduled for quite some time, but they were scheduled to come in here. And for some reason or another, I think Danny was involved in this one. He decided that they didn't want any chop blocks. They didn't want any of those chop blocks, and they certainly didn't want that triple option coming in here and eating the clock up, so they couldn't, I guess, get their fast-paced offense out there on the field.
No tempo.
No tempo, so they decided to cancel the Army game, and they gave them a cool $1 million. So the big deal is right now is they got less time to reschedule this Nebraska contest, but I don't know. I'll start with you, Marcus. How do you feel about it?
Well, the only difference I see now versus what happened a year ago with Army is by SEC rules, you are supposed to have a Power 5 opponent on your schedule outside the SEC every year. So this was one of Tennessee's Power 5 opponents that was filling out their SEC rules. So this does put them in a bind because they've got to find another Power 5 opponent. They can't just go and get UT Martin to fill this spot.
Yep.
You've got to get, so it's a little bit different. So that's probably adding a degree of frustration. However, you're absolutely right. What goes around comes around. You did it, and it's going to come back around to you because you did Army wrong with what you did. But that said, really, our stadium, you're not canceling every other game that you got, every other home game you got, but you don't want to do it because your stadium's going to be under construction.
Yeah.
I can come up with a better excuse than that.
Yeah, that's a little weak.
Come on. I mean, that only takes about 30 seconds of thought. Who in the Nebraska PR department came up with that as the excuse to use?
Yeah, well, when you're using corn for mortar, it doesn't set as good. You know, it takes time to set that corn up, you know, to get the brick in there. You see what I'm saying? I guess. I don't know.
I mean, couldn't they have said they were concerned about spreading bird flu or something? Wouldn't that have been just as –
I mean – I don't know. Anyway, there are some possible replacements here. They've got some possible teams that's open.
All right,
you know, on those dates. Florida State is open.
Boss would love that.
Texas Tech is open. Southern Cal is open. Big Ten.
Ooh.
Come here, go out to California and play out there. That'd be and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame is open that weekend. That's just 4. I don't know. It's got to be a Power 5 school, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know if Notre Dame counts in that. I don't know if it's Power 5 plus Notre Dame or not.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. From a fan standpoint, I would hope that they would count.
I would hope, but I'm just saying I don't know how that rule is written.
I would hope they count, and if it were me picking, I'd be calling South Bend and New York second right now, trying to get them on the schedule. Because I'll tell you, I think it would be a big hit with fans down here. And Notre Dame, I think, you know, they've come down here in the past, and I went to a couple of those games, and those Notre Dame fans, they really travel well, and they love coming down here. I talked to some of them. They said, we like that barbecue place down there on the river. They know all the places in all these different cities because they go all over the United States to play football. But I would like to see them. I think I'd like to see them. Or maybe Southern Cal. I think Southern Cal would be a pretty big hit to come in here. But, well, we'll see. Now, here's an out. The SEC could vote for 9 teams coming up here in the spring or early summer. The Big Ten.
That might happen.
The Big Ten's playing 9, and they might just decide, well, let's just go ahead and play 9. And then those other schools are going to be looking to be getting somebody off of the schedule, you see. And we've already taken care of that. So, I mean, it could take care of it. It could take care of itself. I got some Tennessee notes here. The Lady Vols, they were 22-6 entering the week. They beat Florida 86-78. They were down 9 at the half, but rallied in the second half. I think that game was played over here in Knoxville. And then
that was in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. It was
Florida.
down in down in Florida. Yeah, you're
Florida
exactly
played really
right.
good. Florida shot really well the first half, breaking down the Lady Vols defense, and I think they had a come to Jesus moment in halftime because Tennessee's defense was much better the second half.
It was. Yeah.
Then they went up to Kentucky, I think, on Thursday night and got absolutely shellacked, 82-58. Probably the worst game that they've had, all season long. And of course they were down 9 at Florida, and then they lost this game. So I don't know,
Couldn't shoot it.
Yeah, but it hadn't been a good year, Tony White, for Tennessee and Florida playing games in basketball this year, has it?
Right.
It's
You're right about that.
Yeah, it's been a rough go. They got Georgia tomorrow on the SEC Network at 12 noon, and that one is over here in Knoxville. And then they head to Greenville, South Carolina, Marcus, for the SEC tournament. So they're winding down.
They're winding down, but they played themselves into a position, and while fans aren't going to feel good about the loss at Kentucky. The fact that we're even talking about the Lady Vols being disappointing because of one road loss at this point, going into this season.
Yeah, that's pretty miraculous.
We were thinking 500.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking this was going to be a nationally ranked team that had buys in the SEC tournament.
Right. Baseball.
One more thing on women's basketball.
Yeah.
You heard who was a candidate for the Missouri job that's coming open next year, didn't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Kelly Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Baseball,
I saw that.
Tennessee took care of North Alabama 7-5 last week to beat Oklahoma State 5-2 in the Astros Foundation College Classic. They play Rice today at 12:05 and Arizona tomorrow at 11:05, and they're perfect at 9-0. But these two games were a little bit closer than those ones they played there at home last week. So, and the Lady Vols, their softball program is still going strong. They beat Bradford 10-1, and their only losses have been to UCLA, Oregon, and I believe Nebraska. Three pretty good teams.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yep.
Maybe that's what started it, Mike.
I guess.
Maybe Karen Weekly said something Nebraska didn't like, and that's why they canceled the football game.
I guess. Hey, let's talk some Tennessee basketball. I got Tennessee All-American right here, Tony White. And Tony, they went down to Texas A&M, and they got off to a sluggish start there. They also got off to a sluggish start in their midweek game at LSU. Didn't play very well the first half, but it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive, I guess. And I guess that's how you can sum them up here of late. But that Texas A&M game was a great win down there. But I'm looking at the sheets after the game. They lost the points in the paint.
Mm-hmm.
They lost the fast break points.
Right.
They lost the points off turnovers.
Right.
They didn't have the largest lead. They lost the rebound deal.
Okay.
But they won the game. And you know what? That's what counts.
Yeah, that's right.
You missed the important thing, and that is that Texas A&M couldn't score.
No, good. They were.
That was the important. All that other stuff.
They spent too much time watching our film on 3-point shots. They were 5 for 30.
There
from
you
3
go.
points.
There you go. They
5 for
couldn't
30.
score, and they wasn't a good 3-point shooting team, and that's helped us out a lot.
Yeah, 16.6% from the floor on threes. That was big. I mean, they shot 18 for 20 free throws, and we shot. Tennessee shot 18 for 20 free throws, both at 90% right there. But yeah, that 3-point. I should have circled that on my sheet.
Terrible
right there.
shots too. I mean, man, they was.
But big game for Chaz Lanier again. 30 points by him from the outside. He played exceptional down there, didn't he?
Oh yes, he did. I think he's starting to put the whole package together. That he got he got to open up his jump shot. He got to take the ball to the hole. So he was taking the ball to the hole aggressively, and that's helping him out.
Yeah. And Dwayne Easter, Zakai Ziegler, I'll tell you what, to look at a guy play, and, you know, you can have some turnovers and you can have some things that go along the way, but, buddy, if you make a big shot that decides the game right there in the clutch situation, all those things are kind of forgotten.
Oh, yeah. He's made some
How big was that shot coming out of the timeout right there at the
That
end?
was huge.
That was absolutely.
And he just gives you so much. You know, he hustles all the time, and I think his teammates look up to him, and also he kind of coaches while he's out there. He's kind of telling people, you know.
Yeah.
But Chaz Lanier, I think he had 8 3-pointers, didn't he, in that game?
Yeah.
I think he had 8.
He was unbelievable. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Probably may have been his best game of the year.
Yeah, he played good too.
And
so.
what I like about this league is nobody watches any of our film. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just go out and play the game. Why in the world, Tony? You asked. I mean, you played guard over there.
Okay.
Answer me this question. You got the scouting report, and Zakai Ziegler, that he beats you with penetration. He beats you with penetrating the basketball. I mean, that's his deal. He's penetrates. He's going to go in and score himself. He's going to lay the ball off. It's all about the penetration. If you leave him alone out there, he's as streaky as a bolt of lightning. You know what I'm saying? From the outside shooting. And what do? They guard him like a fly on. I mean, they're all over him out there, and he's going, well, you.
And he's going to blow right by him.
Exactly. He's going, well, you didn't read the scouting report. Another zoom right by him. Get off of him, son. Get off of him. Play the drive.
Well, you do know there's a period from when you leave the locker room, you go to the floor.
Yeah.
So from that time, from the locker room to the floor, you get excited, and those guys, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to play good defense on him.
I'm going to shut him down.
And they lose it.
Yeah.
They lost.
You know, he's deadly on penetration.
Oh, yes, he
He's
is.
deadly.
Yeah.
Get off of him 5 feet and just play the drive and let him shoot out there. I mean, he's going to hit a few on you, but he's not going to beat you near as bad out there shooting as he's going to beat you on penetration.
Yeah.
Mike, slow down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Slow down.
I'm sorry.
Listen, Mike, that's
Alabama may be listening this morning, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
Shut
hold on.
up.
But-
Shut up, son.
But that's the old school philosophy.
I guess.
I mean, now it's
Yeah.
like, hey, push up. We playing that pressure defense,
Yeah.
and you don't say that. Hey, if I know that you can drive and beat me, why should I put all the pressure on you? See,
Yeah.
you got to think about that.
I guess.
You got to think about it now.
I guess. Well, hey,
But give Zakai some credit too, Mike.
he got that.
Give him some credit because he is extremely good at playing off that switch, forcing that switch and playing off of it and going inside or outside of the other defender. He splits the defenders when they're switching better than anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah, that pick and roll, he's deadly.
Yeah.
He's deadly, Mike.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, if they keep playing him like they're playing him tight, he's going to be deadly the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because that's not working. I can assure you. All right, let's talk about LSU. Big game next game. Got the big win down at College Station. Went down to play LSU, and it just looked to me like, Tony, we just kind of went through the motions down there.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look like we were too excited about playing, too enthused, and you know,
man,
they're not very good basketball team, and unfortunately we let them hang around a long time.
Oh,
didn't we?
yeah.
That's
We
what
did.
you call a trap game. It almost bit us in the butt. Yeah, no, really, because we didn't come out.
No, and we got right back into that 3-point. Fortunately, we didn't take as many.
True.
But we got right back into that
True.
miserable 3-point shooting, 6 for 22 at 27%
Right.
down there at LSU, and we just that's not our game.
No.
That's
No.
just not our game. Stay away from it. And the free throws were horrible. We were 13 for 21 from the free throw line down there.
Right.
So just wasn't a very impressive shooting the ball from the outside,
Right.
nor shooting free throws from the
But
outside.
thank God that we did play LSU and they only scored 59.
Yeah,
I mean,
we played defense. And,
we played defense, but we only scored 65. They scored. It was an ugly game, but hey, sometimes you got to win ugly.
Yeah.
They started out slow again that game too.
Well,
I mean,
they
it's
did.
like,
the first
golly.
half was just that the game was in the 20s at the half.
Yeah, they didn't score like 6 minutes there. There was a stretch. Or
Yeah, I don't know.
They lost the focus, like I told you.
Yeah.
From the locker room to the floor. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Mike, a lot happened during that time. I'm serious.
65 points by Tennessee, 32 of them in the paint. There's where we are.
Right.
Yeah.
The paint and the defense that we played the other night. You know, you hold somebody in the 50s, you got no worry about winning the basketball game.
Right.
So.
True.
And they just weren't very
True,
good.
but they did.
I mean,
On the offensive end, we weren't excited, but we did play. We did play some good defense, though.
Yeah.
I can't say that.
27 second chance points. You saw that
Right.
watching the game where they offensively got the rebounds, put them back in. 13 points off turnovers, and the boards, we killed them 44 to 28.
Well,
So,
there you go. There you go.
Yeah. And you look at all of that right there, and you go, hey, how could it have been a 6-point game?
Yeah.
A 6-point game because you were 6 for 22 from 3-point range. There you go. You threw up 22, 2 points.
Right.
22 times 3, that's 66 points possible in the 3-point range, and you got 18.
Right. There you go.
You got 18.
That's huge, yeah.
Hey, Alabama.
Ooh.
Alabama coming in here today.
Oh, boy.
Tony, what do you think?
Come on, Mike. You're going to ask me that. You know, what I think is
Rainbow over here. I know how he's going to feel.
He's like Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling. Yeah, they were born on the same day.
No, Mike, really, I think that this right here is the key matchup today for us. Actually, for the bid in the SEC tournament and
Possibly the number
nationally.
one seed. maybe.
Nationally, yeah. That's what I'm saying. So this is a very important game. We can't come out slow. We got to be focused. We can't lose that focus from the locker room to the floor. We got to stay positive.
Dwayne, anything else on the line today besides that number one seed? Not that that's not very
That's
important.
pretty big.
It's pretty big,
You
yeah.
know,
Hefty.
It's going to be a tough game, you know.
I mean, you're down to that last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
you don't want – number one, you don't want to drop one this close to going into the postseason. But number two, you can't afford to drop a game here because right now you're in the race to get the double bye. But if you drop a game,
Right.
I mean, you've got 5 teams that reasonably are good enough to be a double bye team. There's only 4 spots.
Right.
One of them is going to be playing a day earlier than they should.
I'm hoping they come out really excited because, I mean, this is a huge game. So you got to come out excited and get aggressive right from the beginning. We can't start out slow.
Right.
Yeah, we got to play.
Well,
good
we're playing
defense.
at home, so I'm
Yeah.
thinking that with the crowd.
Crowd, yeah, it's a huge game.
Yeah,
This
with
is on the chalkboard. This is in the locker room. This is all about the pregame talk. And I've written it down right here in big, bold letters, just like it shows in the Tennessee locker room. This is it, boys. Defense, defense, defense. That's all that needs to be
Well,
said.
see-
You're playing the number one team, probably the number 1 or number 2 team. And I mean, they're averaging, what, 90-some? Probably close to 90 points a game.
Right.
And we're the number 1, Tennessee's the number 1 defensive team
Right.
in the country. Something's got to give.
Well, we're playing at home.
And if it's toward the defense, what kind of game are we going to be looking at today, Tony? It
What's that?
starts with a U.
You.
U, yeah, like U. The second letter is G, and the third letter is L, and the fourth letter is Y. If it's a defensive game, ugly, and that's the way I'm going to look at it. Alabama will not get 90 points in here today.
Well, no, but I don't think it's going to be an ugly game.
You don't think so? You think it's going to be up and down?
Alabama want to get up and down. Alabama,
Yeah, they want to get up and down.
Right.
They want an up tempo. I agree with
Right.
you.
But I'm just saying, I think that here we're going to control all that flow that Alabama like to go. But I don't think it's going to be ugly. It's going to be exciting because that's what we used to seeing. Defense.
And you know, think when this team's played a year ago, what the key to that game was Tennessee owned the boards. They shut down Alabama's second chance points. And when you watch Alabama, that is a huge part of that offense is a second chance points.
Exactly.
So if you can keep a hand in the face and not just give them wide open threes
There you go.
and still crash the boards, you can beat Alabama. And several teams have shown that's the way to beat Alabama already this year.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd rather that be shoot, shoot, shoot. Is that what you and Tony are saying?
No,
I'm saying when you all played.
Well, I mean, I always like to put it up anyway. I can't average 25 a game.
If they showed that on a blackboard when Tony and I was playing, we'd be having our heads looking at the back wall back there. Defense, defense, defense.
Oh, yeah.
Who is this guy talking up here?
Yeah, exactly.
Huh? Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Your thought was, after y'all play that defense, get me the ball.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
Tony and I are going, you four guys have really good luck with that defense out there today, but I got something else on my mind.
Hey, if they miss, we off running.
Exactly. Exactly. Dwayne, Alabama's coming in here. This is big for them, not only because of a seeding, but because they still got a chance at a regular season SEC championship.
Yes,
now, they've got enough games left here, and they've got Auburn at Tuscaloosa.
Right.
They're at the end of the year, so they're
Yeah.
looking at that deal. But if they lose today, they're out of that deal.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can't. There's no way they can win it if they lose today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a huge
Right.
game, and hopefully they come out,
This is-
right
yeah.
off the bat, and just,
Yeah.
really aggressive, defense, shooting. We need
Yeah,
to
but
shoot
this
good
the
and-
time that we need to peak, right?
Yeah, we need
today.
to peak right now.
Yeah.
Today.
Hopefully
But-
you'll have all that adrenaline, and you're just pumped up for
Oh.
this game, and it turns
Oh, it's
out.
going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be there.
The
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going.
Oh, you
the-
going?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, shoot.
I'll be at the
I
game.
guess why I'm a little bit of a downer on this deal,
What?
thinking it's going to be a little bit ugly, because when you're playing that defense, really hard defense, it's going to take your legs away from you. And it also makes that offense of Alabama or whoever they're playing work a lot harder.
Yeah,
It makes them work a lot harder,
Right.
you see. And you wear down. It wears on you. It wears your
yeah.
shooting down and so forth. So
Okay.
I-
So tell me
but-
this, Mike.
yeah.
When you play, right? When you play and y'all playing Kentucky, tell me, how did you feel? What's the excitement that's going through you?
there was back in my day. The two big rivals were Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
Okay, right.
In the league, the league, Tony, wasn't as strong from top to bottom as it is now. It was Kentucky, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt, and then my junior and senior year, Alabama came in.
Okay, I got you,
Alabama came into play.
Okay.
So the other teams were a step below, and not taking anything away from them. That's just the way it was. But the Kentucky game the whole atmosphere was different. You walked in there, there was a different feeling. It was electric.
Right.
It's very hard for a player to explain that.
Exactly.
It was an electric type of feeling that you didn't get, even though at Stokely the games were sold out. You didn't get all the games were sold out. You didn't get it for LSU. You didn't get it for
I understand.
Mississippi or
I
Mississippi
understand.
State. But when Kentucky came in here, it just was a whole different air. I don't know whether it was maybe there was a lot of ghosts floating around up there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Now, grasp that feeling.
Yeah.
Grasp that feeling today.
Yeah.
This is what's happening. You got two nationally ranked teams,
Yeah.
and they got a lot on the table.
Highly ranked team.
Right.
Highly ranked
Yeah.
team.
Right.
So Tennessee going to be up for this game today.
Right.
And I'm telling you, they're going to play great defense, and the offense going to be exciting.
And that's why the league has changed so much, because now you got Alabama and Auburn. But back in my day, it was Kentucky, because
right.
Adolph Rupp was at Kentucky,
got
and
you.
they were dominating this league year in and year out. So
Okay.
that was the game. That was the game you wanted.
So are you going to give him a pep talk before this game? You're going to go in the locker room today? Huh?
Well, hey, if I have to, I'll go in the
Oh,
locker room.
He's going to go in that locker room with an eraser. First thing he's going to do is erase that chalkboard that says defense.
I won't do that. I would not.
All right. Well, it is a big game, and I don't guess I mentioned, but it's a 4:00 game.
Right.
And instead of 12, that's why Tony's sitting here, because he's going to have plenty of time to get over. He'll be able to get over there in plenty of time. But it will be 4, and that's on ESPN. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide the high school basketball scores, tournament scores, and some other news, sports news around the area. And then veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons joins us with his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
I think they're third. Yeah. Welcome back to the Goatee Sports Page. Donnie Moore, high school basketball is in full swing.
You know, this is the time of year when high school basketball comes to its acme, I think we should say. I mean, it's no, come on, not like the Anvil. It's peak.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then you got overlap. You got you got
you
spring
do.
sports firing up right.
I hate it
Sure.
when they give him a new vocabulary word list.
Yeah, I know. He's like he's our Howard Cosell of the sports page. Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's take a look at the at the local scoreboard sponsored by our friends at Mandy B Street Realty. Yeah. We've got we had several games last night. Not an abundance of them, but you know they're paring it down now.
We're in the region quarterfinals.
Region quarterfinals.
If you're not familiar with the format, this one is one you got to win to keep going.
Yes.
You win this one, you're in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you're guaranteed a place in the position in the sub-state.
no,
If you win one more.
you got to get to the region finals to get that next round of bye.
Yeah,
But
that's
so
right.
this is a must-win game.
Yeah, it is. Well, let's talk about some girls prep hoops. The region quarterfinals. The boys play tonight, and I'll give you a rundown of who plays who here in just a minute. But last night, girls action, Region 1 2A. Alcoa at 24-7 now defeated South Green, who is 10-21 on the year. And listen to this score: 77-12.
You know, it's a 1-4 game, but there were some very lopsided 1-4 games last night.
There were.
That was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Tell you
The
another one
2-3
next.
game with the 2-3 game with GP, and escaping me who the 3 was out of Region 1 or District 1, but it was also like 70-something to 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
The top 2 teams in this district.
That
are
looked
just
like an
phenomenal.
Alcoa football score. That did, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think that may have been an Alcoa football score.
Yeah.
Well, in the Region 3 3A game, Heritage hosted Red Bank last night out of the Chattanooga area, and the Lady Mountaineers are 29-2 on the season. Red Bank was 9-15, or in fact are 9-15. They finished 9-15 after last night. It was 79-27 in favor of the Lady Mountaineers.
Another
Alcoa
1-4 game.
and Heritage put up 156 points last night, and their opponents together put up 39 points. It's pretty incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. Moving on to Region 2 4A, Maryville at 11-21 took it on the chin last night at Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge is 23-3, so good basketball team up there. 68-52 in favor of the Lady Wildcats in the 4A. District 3, Division 2, Division 2A state quarterfinals. TKA at 26-7 defeated Franklin Road Academy at 23-13. The score 76-54.
Lady Lions are coming on here. At the
Yeah,
end.
no kidding. Yeah, good deal. I mean, they've got a good record. Region 2 3A girls quarterfinal. Seymour was in a barn burner with Anderson County last night, and that one
Close one.
Yeah, that one ended up 37-36 in favor of Lady Eagles. Seymour's 19-10, Anderson County's 14-17.
Tony, they had defense written on the board.
They must have, yeah.
Yeah.
Must have. Girls lacrosse has started up, and
There you go.
it is finally sanctioned as a TSSAA sanctioned sport, and this is their initial season this year of being in sanctioned play. Thursday night, William Blunt went to Webb School of Knoxville and beat the Lady Spartans 12-7. So they won their first game, 12-7.
Marcus, what do you think about putting a club in a woman's hand?
I enjoy any sport where you put a weapon in somebody's hand and get to see what happens. I mean, personally, I think golf would be a lot more interesting if it was full contact, but you know, they tell me that's not the way it's supposed to be played.
This is true.
Yeah.
Region quarterfinals tonight in boys action. Eagleton boys play at West Green. Johnson County comes to Alcoa tonight. Halls comes to Maryville, and Chattanooga Central comes to Heritage.
Now after this quarterfinal round, we go to most of these regions are going to the centralized site for the semifinals and finals.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and
they satellite them out in the first two rounds.
For Eagleton and Alcoa, it's going to be a hall. Unicoi County is hosting the region tournament, so they will be up in Irwin.
Wow.
For those games. So that's going to require getting out of school early just for them to get up there in time for those games.
I think so.
I went and watched Alcoa and Eagleton. Eagleton's got a really good team. I mean,
Coach West has done a great job with developing that boys team. If they weren't in a district with GP and Alcoa, you know, they would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 4 losses right there on them from this year.
There for a while, they were holding their own against Alcoa. I mean, they're tough.
And they, you know, depending on, I think they've got a very winnable game at West Green, just depending on. Not that I'd say this in a negative way, but depending on who the officials are and who gets to work that game, and how that
Well, it
gym
always figures in.
How the gym those South Green and West Green have some of the hardest gyms to play in the area. Those are small, tight gyms where they're still the crowd is right on top of you on the court, and those are fierce environments in Greene County.
Wow. Well, that'll just about do it for my perspective on the Mandy B Street Realty local scoreboard.
Let me go ahead and give the preface that.
All right, go ahead,
because this is one of those changes that's kind of silently run along. But remember last year we moved up by a week. It was a pretty late announcement. It came in middle of January. They were adding a week to the spring season and moving it up a week.
I do remember that.
And teams and most teams weren't in a position to take advantage of it because their schedules were already done and they were already maxed out on games. However, that rule did not change. It was not a one-time exception. So starting tomorrow is the official start of spring sports. So baseball, softball, lacrosse, tennis, track, all of those kick off on Monday with their first official dates for competition.
Goodness.
So it is a full slate, and you add on top of that we also have, on top of lacrosse being added, with boys and girls lacrosse being added to the spring schedule, we now have flag football over at SESI that is also on there. So it's going to be a very busy spring before basketball is even wrapped up.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, thank you, Marcus, and I'm going to tell you that you out there listening that you are listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. And now, Marcus, I am going to pass it over to you for your feature. Mark it down.
Well, I'll take the verbal baton.
You got it.
You know, we'll give that other shout out to Mandy B Street Realty for sponsoring this segment. We have special guests this morning. We have illustrious officials. We have Joe.
We do.
Strong word.
We have Joe Huff and Chris Clark joining us from Parks and Rec. And if anybody looked at the paper this week, and I think it was Wednesday's paper where the spring and summer Parks and Rec guide came out, it's amazing these guys even have time to come visit with us this morning because they have a full slate on tap. But guys, thanks for coming in. And you know, I think last time we talked to you was back in May. I think Chris came over. But since then, y'all got a new facility kind of open up over there over at Everett. You got some turf in and something
Yeah.
looking kind of good. You want to brag on that facility a little bit, Joe?
Yeah, it's a great addition. Thanks to the Blount County government, we was able to fund two new fields. Well, not two new fields, but 2 fields with artificial turf. Our football field, primarily football field. We also play youth soccer on it and flag football, and then we have another auxiliary field we use mainly for soccer and flag football too. So both those fields have turf now. We got new lights, LED lights on one field. Looking maybe putting some lights on the other field too here in the near future. But yeah, it's a great addition. I mean, we're able to. We've had, and Chris can expand on that more than me, but we've had some teams playing on it the last few weeks where usually you couldn't get on the field. It'd be too wet, whatever, this time of year. And it's helped out with some of the high school teams. I guess the only flag football team we have in Blount County girls has been practicing up there a little bit, Eagleton. And we've had some soccer teams and even some softball teams. So it's not just great for us, it's great for the community. We're letting some of the teams, high school teams use it if our field's a little bit wet. So it's been a great addition. And we're getting ready to crank up soccer on it here how many weeks? So
we'll start. First games will be April 5th.
Yeah, so we got about 620, 650 kids playing soccer on it here before long.
And most of the people who are using it are too young to even realize that there was a school there at one point. But for the old dogs that may be around, there's a little bit of history on that field with the logo out there at midfield. That's the old Everett logo, isn't it?
It is. We had to do some work to get that logo. We couldn't find a good logo.
Yeah, the old logo they had wouldn't transcend on the football field. I think it was done with a sketch pad back in the 40s. But we found something pretty close.
Yeah, it looks good, though. But pay homage to Everett because we have Everett in both end zones and the Bulldog in the middle of the field because that's where we're sitting is right on the campus of Everett High School.
That's true.
And I know, when the high schools put in turf, they were talking about that they could, it allows more use of the field and cuts down on maintenance to a degree. Is that? I would think that's even more true with as many programs as you all have going on, that you're not burning the grass out. You can just run teams out there one after the other.
Yeah, we don't have to, the maintenance of fertilizing. Joe and I were talking about that this week with fertilizing and going out and mowing, and that's not existent anymore. But we still have to, making sure that we keep stuff off of it, picking it up, and we have a machine that'll pick that up, blowing it off because leaves can be. The acid from the tree leaves and everything can be damaging to it, so we got to make sure we're taking care of that. So there is still some maintenance, but not to the extent of what we were doing for so many years.
And all those little feet just don't trample the grass as much when it's those little pellets.
Yeah.
But Mom and Dad get to pick those pellets out of their socks. That's always fun.
They do.
Back pockets, anywhere that if there's a hole, that crumb rubber finds a way.
Well, give us a little bit of preview. I mean, you all have a lot coming on, and I know from talking to you guys earlier, you're already filling up for these summer programs.
Yeah, we are.
So what all's on the offering? I mean,
well, we start our first event that we do this summer will be Sports and More. It's at Everett Rec Center, and it's basically like going back to school. They switch classes, they do everything. They set up a pit downstairs for Gaga ball, which wasn't around when I was a kid.
No,
now that's a big deal.
It's popular.
Gaga ball.
Yeah, it's a pit. You got to bounce it off. You got to keep it below their knees. I mean, it's a pretty fun game to watch. But we do that, and then they'll have a obstacle course set up with Nerf guns, and then they play all the sports: flag football, baseball, wiffle ball, kickball, soccer. They do it all. Great program.
Is there an adult version of this?
No kidding.
Because I'm wondering if
that's Lady Gaga ball.
Okay. That's something different, Donnie.
Oh boy.
That's something much different.
Oh boy.
Stepped in it now.
I've never.
Let's go back to Chris.
Put me down for that one.
Oh, Lord.
Oh man.
But you talked to me that's one of the hottest tickets to get into, but the other ones are some of the places where you're kind of limited in the number of places, number of people you can take. So what are the other top programs that are going on there? People need to register now if they're going to do them.
We have a special needs camp, Camp Chickababa, which has been around for 30 plus years, and but it's for the handicapped population. And this week we had basketball for Special Olympics at Everett Rec Center. We had 3 days of it. and people were leaving there, going straight up to the office and signing up to make sure their kids would not miss out, because we can only take 10 because that's a hands-on camp where we have to make sure that we have staff that can be, because some of the kids do need one-on-one attention. So that one's one that fills up pretty quick. And then we also have some smaller camps like our nature camp. We can only take 24. We do it at Harmony. And, you know, it's tough to get to that one because you want to make sure that they enjoy everything. But if you have too many kids, then they miss out on the enjoyment of it. So that's why we have to limit that as well.
Well, Joe, what we're not going to say you've been doing this a while, but you've been doing this a while.
Yeah. Couple of years.
when you look at that catalog, and I think somebody told me there were more 200 things in that spring summer catalog. Yeah. What's the thing you all are offering now that you never thought you'd offer?
Well, if you told me when I started that pickleball and dog parks and disc golf would be three of your biggest things, yeah, I'd never. You know, some of us here probably would thought you was crazy. I mean, dog parks are huge. Our disc golf course is considered one of the top courses in the South. It gets a tremendous amount of use. It's unbelievable how many people go out there. And pickleball is just it's taken
exploding.
We got 14 courts, and I don't know if we'll ever have enough courts. That's probably going to have to be it for a little while. But
and those ladies take that serious.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And those men do too. Yeah. And it's getting, you know, when it started out, it was a kind of a senior age sport, but now I was reading average age like 35. I mean,
really?
High school, college kids are getting it. It's gone crazy. So,
yeah, they're professional leagues now.
Oh, absolutely.
It's on ESPN.
It is.
So it's those three things are really surprising. But we just got, like Chris said, you know, I think we have over 20 camps in the summer. A lot of athletic camps. You know, we got Dawn Marsh coming in for the Marsh Madness basketball. Well, her and Micah, they come in for that, and we do that. We got other schools helping with football camps, and then we have pools that open the middle of May. Johnsonville Springbrook Pool. And it's you know, it just, we meet with our maintenance crew there today. You know, we're busy right now, but here in a few weeks, it's about to go nuts. I mean, it's kind of like when the mowing starts and the pools open and the ball fields, they're doing ball fields every day, adult softball and soccer. I mean, we do have the turf fields, but we're still playing on a few fields where we got to mow and line off. We you know, with that many kids, you can't get them all on. Although I think we figured we play 130 games on that football field a year, of some type, 130 games a year.
That's a lot of use.
Yeah.
But
that's why we never had grass.
You mentioned the thing that I think most people think about when they think about Parks and Rec is the pools, when the first thing that comes to mind. But it's not a matter of, you know, opening day, you just don't go turn on the pumps and have lifeguards show up. There's a whole process that goes in before you ever get out there for that pool.
Yeah, our maintenance superintendent, he hates the word pools. I mean, Springbrook Pool, we're starting to work on it now. Probably we'll start draining, and I mean it's a 2-month process to kind of. It's like a wastewater plant actually. I mean that's what it operates like one, and you got to clean it every year. We got to repaint it. We got to, and it's an old pool. It has some issues. It leaks water. So now John Sevier kicks up a little quicker. It's a little bit smaller, and it don't have some of the issues. But yeah, these pools. It's not like you go in a week or two beforehand. It's a couple of months beforehand, and we'll be starting to work on pools here soon and getting lifeguards. You know, we hire 60 lifeguards a summer, so we're taking applications down. We'll start training lifeguards here the first time around. Here in a few weeks, we'll do some indoor facilities. We'll do lifeguard training and certification, getting them ready for the summer too.
Right. And you know that used to be the thing that like everybody wanted to be the lifeguard for the summer. That was like the job to have.
Yeah.
You all have to work now to get them, don't you? I mean,
we've done a little bit better
easier,
lately.
yeah.
You know, I've told this story a bunch of times where I had a guy a couple years ago. I was talking to him, and what we're paying, he said, you know, I can go to Wendy's. He said, I can make that much working at Wendy's, or make a little bit more. I said, yeah. I said, nothing against Wendy's. I said, you could go in there and do French fries and work and do all that in there, or you could sit out here in your shorts and be a lifeguard all day. He said, I think I'll stay where I'm at.
Well, I'm going to let you brag a little bit because we got another one I know that's coming up that isn't limited by size at all. Is you got Triple Crown, and the first race coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, that's April 12th, the first run.
Talk a little bit about that one for people who, I mean, you've had a lot of people move into this area that may not have ever heard of the Healthy Blunt Triple Crown running, and what that is.
We've done that for over 27 years. 27, 28 years we've had the Triple Crown of running, and it starts with the Spring Sprint in Springbrook, which truly runs around the Springbrook Rec Center, starts right there outside the tennis courts, runs around by Alcoa High School and then back. And you can get a discount if you sign up for all three now. You can run that one. We have one in July at Maryville College, the Scholars Run, and then we have the Reindeer Run, which was ran right behind Barley's here, or Bluetick. It starts right behind here, and it runs in the first weekend of December. So it's big. I mean, we have a lot of people. You know, we'll have 250 runners each race.
You know, I love the Reindeer Run more than the other two. Nothing against the other two, but we have such an active running community that is not afraid to dress up for that one. And there's just something about watching them come through downtown with reindeer antlers on and shiny noses and Santa hats and all that.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
That's just a fun finish to it, I think.
We give prizes for the, of course it's crowd participation. We don't want to make that call on who decorates themselves the best. And we have a youth, male, female, and an adult, male and female, that gets awards for their costumes.
And you all have like a running prep class for that, right? Like where you can basically learn how to. It doesn't seem like you would need to, but actually there is a science to running that you can learn how to run and work up to doing these things.
Kind of similar to what they do from the couch to a 5K. You start 10 weeks out, kind of get yourself ready. You never truly run a 5K until you run it. So you might run, start the old adage, you got to crawl before you can run. Mm-hmm. So that's what you got to do. You got to make sure you're doing things right, preparing your body to be able to run that 3.1 mile whenever that race runs.
And Joe, one of the other ones I know that's it'll be coming up, and it usually kind of slips right after we get done. But y'all have that fishing derby.
Yeah, 1st of June. Yeah.
Can you brag about that one a little bit? Because that is a monstrosity of an event.
We have over 200 kids around the duck pond, Alcoa Duck Pond. It's crazy. I mean, it's hard to find a place to put a line in, but it's a Kelly Forster out of our office runs that, does a great job. She works with TWRA. They help us out on some things. They stock it, and then they come and help with the weigh-ins, that kind of thing. So it's on. I think it's when they do it. It's usually National Fishing Day or something. There's something there, but it's a great event. I mean, kids. Well, there's a lot of parents there too. Sometimes I don't know who's fishing, the parent or the kid. When you see a 2-year-old hauling in 6 big fish, you
it makes you feel bad for the fish.
Been a little assistance there.
We're going to throw you in a tank. We're going to run you down the Alcoa, dump you in the pond, and tomorrow 200 kids are going to throw hooks at you.
Actually, we put them in on like Tuesday, and then we don't feed you till Saturday.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. I feel bad for the fish in that case, because they're not going to last long. Not with that many hooks out there.
Then the next month, July, the big thing is the Smoky.
Yeah, we got the voice of the Smoky Mountain Classic right here, Donnie Moore. So
I was waiting for him to bring it up. I was going to see if he was going to do it.
I'm glad he did. July 11, 12.
July 11, 12, 13.
11, 12, 13.
I'll be there.
Put it on your calendar. I don't have to call you now. You got the date.
Joe and I had a good meeting yesterday afternoon with the people that are over the conference USSSA. We met with them over Zoom for about an hour yesterday, just making sure everybody was ready. Staff, make sure we have their staff coming in, and we find them housing and get everything taken care of. So it's love that event. That's somebody asked me that earlier, how I started working. I said, well, when I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to play semi-college baseball at Hiawassee, and I always said, I'm going to play in that or I'm going to work it. Well, this year will be my 30th Smoky working. I never played in it.
That job for Donnie, you got that weekend, does that pay more than that Wendy's pays? Or?
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too shabby.
Yeah, we even overpaid. I take care of him.
We even feed him. We'll feed him, get him drinks. We'll make sure keep him hydrated.
A lot of perks in that job.
Have you ever caught him in a mispronounce somebody's name?
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. Well, the key to that job is getting a comfortable chair.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're sitting there for 20 hours.
That's it.
And you would think that little hard bench wouldn't be that tough, would you, Donnie?
Well, I bring my own chair.
Yeah. He's prepared.
Yeah.
Now, I understand your contract negotiations for a lazy boy to be built in there. Is that what you were telling me about?
They don't want me taking a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's tempting there when you're there.
It is, yeah.
You get there close to midnight being done. You started at 8 o'clock that morning. a nap is tempting. I don't sit down that weekend.
No, you can't.
There's no way because I sit down, get comfortable, I'm done.
Now, I just want to ask you, just because we have another facility coming online in the county, is there any possibility we're going to see some of the games at the new Eagleton project where y'all can use that field as well as what the field you're already using?
The hope is yes. We play at Denso. Denso's been a great partner since they came into Blount County. They're almost entering their 40th year. They're pretty close to that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they've been gracious to allow us to use their field. It doesn't drain real well, and they're aware. But we are hoping that we can use the Eagleton baseball field. They're going to put 80-foot pegs in there. That's what we play at 80 foot. So we'll see. Hopefully it comes to fruition. But that's the plan, is to be able to hopefully use that.
Good. That would be the first game of the Smoky to be played on turf.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yay. We might be waiting for some history this year.
Is there any plans for artificial surfaces up at Sandy Springs?
No, somebody asked me that last year, and I said you can't change the mystique of Sandy Springs Park and putting turf on those fields.
Plus, the way that park's designed, you can't secure it in any way. I mean, it's people be who knows whether they be out there driving cars on it. And I mean,
cutting donuts in their Jeep.
Yeah, who knows? It's a problem now the way it is now. But I don't say never. Somebody beside, I don't know, one of these days we might put it on the infield. But there again, it's just securing it to keep people off of it, messing it up, because those parks are they're not fenced in. They're wide open. It's an issue. We have it a little bit at the Everett football field. We got that a little bit.
And the thing about our fields, they drain so well. Our maintenance department does a great job of getting them ready. And a lot of times it doesn't rain leading up to the Smoky, but I promise you it's going to rain that weekend. Yeah. And we're going to play. We're going to play. Our hope is that once the rain stops, we're going to play within 45 minutes of the rain quitting.
Yeah. Those fields drain better than anything most of those teams are used to.
And those guys have been around all over the country, and they're like, I'll put your fields against anybody's. That's a good compliment. Yeah. Our maintenance guys have done a fantastic job of readying those fields, and when it quits, they're like, don't leave, because they're playing.
Right.
Yeah. And I know Donnie wants me to take the break, but before we could do that, anybody who wants to get involved, y'all got the best website name out there. I don't know how you manage that, but go ahead and give that one out for people who want to find out about summer programs or find out what you're doing or camps.
Yeah, parksrec.com, PARKSREC. What happened, Joe, when that domain started, the website started coming, he just got out there and looked, and that was available, and he's like, there's no chance we don't take that one. But, yeah, parksrec.com, that's us.
Y'all got bingo for me and Tony?
we got senior.
I mean, you're hitting all this. You're hitting all this activity, and down here we're not seeing
supposedly.
That.
Now reportedly we have it up there.
We will say the Senior Smoky Mountain Classic will be coming again this year for 2 weeks, starting the end of May, right?
Right.
And they'll have 200 and something teams playing all over East Tennessee, but they have the big boys of the senior division will play down anywhere. They start at 40 and over and go up to 75 and
75.
over. I mean, there's something. There's
something
for everybody
here.
here.
Still playing that,
B43. Bingo.
Bingo.
Now, Donnie, do you spend those 2 weeks announcing that too?
No,
I haven't yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Can't afford him for that.
Oh man.
Well, I was thinking he just didn't want to go out there. He didn't want to get recruited to go out and play.
Yeah, well, he can make some of those lineups, I promise you.
I'm not going to play. My playing days are done.
Well, you'll have a new shoulder by then. You'll be all good.
That's true. I will.
Yeah.
I mean, you need something to get out there and test it with.
Oh.
Let him throw the first pitch out or something.
It's going to be a while.
That'd be a goal.
Yeah.
Everybody needs goals.
Left-handed.
Well, guys, we appreciate you guys coming in and talking to us about it. I know you got a busy spring coming up, and like I said, I'm just amazed you had time to come in and visit with us this morning, so thanks for doing it. And, Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page on.
Okay, time to turn the page, and next up is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeezSportsPage Player of the Week segment featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. Marcus, I don't know if you can top that last segment or not.
It's tough. It really is.
I mean, you got these celebrities in here, been around a long time.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Secret.
And, it's kind of hard to follow up on that. But because of the weird break in the weekend, as we were talking about, in the last segment when we were talking about the prep scores, we're in the middle of basketball going on. They've got games tonight, and teams are doing their final rest before the season starts on Monday for spring sports. So we didn't have anybody to bring in today. But so I was going to let you talk some more about UT basketball since we had to kind of cut that short a little bit. And I know there were some things you wanted to talk about on there.
I got some stuff here.
But we appreciate Anderson Lumber Company. I'll tell you
I got Tony White here. It's not, and Dwayne, it's not hard to talk.
No more defense.
You can't shut them up, we talk all day long here. Yeah. Hey, I've been watching these SEC games, and I thought it might be interesting to kind of take a look at how everybody feels about the officiating in the Southeastern Conference this year. I've written some things down here, some things that I've observed. And what brought it up is I was watching the Texas, I don't know how many people watched this the other night, but I was watching the Texas A&M and Vanderbilt game last week there in College Station, midweek game. And it got down to the last couple of minutes, and it was a really close game. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of really key plays, and nobody blew a whistle. Nobody blew a whistle on the court, so they just inadvertently stopped play. The coaches are looking at each other, the players are looking at each other, and they go to the monitor to decide what happened on the play without the whistle. It happened the first time, and I'm going, that is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that in the SEC
Without a game stoppage.
Without a game stoppage. They just stopped the game. And then I thought, well, that'll never happen again. It happened again about 36 seconds later. They looked at each other. They didn't blow the whistle. And the guys on TV were going, I didn't hear. Did y'all hear a whistle? I never. And they just walked over to the monitor to make a call.
Crazy.
Not to correct anything, to make a call. So I thought, well, let's just write down. Let's just go around and just see if I was seeing things on television or maybe you guys have got some comments. I know it's a tough job to officiate, but are there some things that you guys have seen or want to make some comments about it? Tony, I know you went to the foul line a lot, and I know you're very partial to officials.
The only thing that I'm actually seeing is that they are dependent on the monitors too much.
Right there in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Instead of making the call, they'll make a call, then they say, walk over to the monitor.
Yeah.
For what? Make the call.
For just about every call.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just about every one of them, whether it's one they need to look at or not. If it's in the last 2 minutes, they go over there anyway.
Right, but
can the players request a review?
Yeah, a lot of times in the last 2 minutes, you'll see a player go like this. You know,
I mean, they're doing it all the time.
Yeah. Telling the coach.
Theoretically, what they're doing is asking them to check the time on the play to see if they've got if the clock is actually right. But they're reviewing a lot more than the clock when they're going over there.
Exactly, because it takes too long for the last 2 minutes to get done. It takes 20 minutes.
It takes forever.
Yeah, Dwayne, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I've noticed too. A lot of the players, kind of run their mouth to the referees now. They used to back in the day. You get a tick pretty
You
fast on
wouldn't
that.
do that.
Now you see them kind of almost up in their face sometimes and stuff, and I just can't believe it's changed that much. They get away with it. Plus, I notice it seems like when they're down at Auburn, it seems like they get a lot of calls their way at Auburn.
Imagine that.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's because the coach is so loud that they don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't know. It's just they get a lot of calls at Auburn.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the one that's I've seen it called one time this entire season, and it shocked me they called it. One time I've seen them whistle a double dribble, and I've seen them whistle one time an over the back call, somebody going over the back on a rebound.
Right.
The double dribble is driving me crazy because I can see it 3 and 4 times a game where a guy will catch the ball, dribble, stop, look around, look for a pass, and then start dribbling
Exactly.
again.
Right. Exactly.
That was a turnover.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a double
and I
dribble.
see
That's a
it and
turnover.
I believe he just double dribbled, didn't he? Bounced the ball and then dribbled again.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't
just-
call it
no.
anymore.
No, they don't.
And I don't know why, because they even call that in the NBA. That's not even a problem in the NBA. It's just it's unique to college now.
Right. But a lost call, I'm going to tell y'all, this is the most important lost call in the college game. 3 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you never see that call.
Don't see it.
I haven't-
3 seconds.
I have not seen that called in years.
See, that's what I'm saying. 3 seconds. That's
And it's
a
not
rule.
because the posts are respecting it and not doing it.
No.
They just don't call it
They
anymore.
don't call it. They let people, because I'll just say, for instance, last year, Big Hill Edie, he never would get it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had a Big 10 in the lane. I mean, he just stayed in the lane.
Yeah.
But they never called it.
Never.
He would occasionally put a toe across, like every so often put a toe across. But you're supposed to be all the way out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He would just put a toe outside the
you're
lane, and they would
right.
say, "Oh, he got out."
He's out of the lane. No, right.
Well, like
come on.
Donnie was saying,
When
there's a lot of-
305 of the 306 pounds is in the lane, you're in the lane.
Yeah.
Dwayne, go ahead. You got a good
like
one.
Donnie was talking about carrying the ball.
Oh,
too.
everybody.
I mean, it's
Guards.
like that is such a good weapon though. Back when we played, you couldn't do that, but
that's
now
a
you
hesitation
can
dribble.
change direction. I mean, it's like wow.
No,
Yeah.
They palming the ball. They palming
They
the
going
ball.
like this.
If you're making a crossover, if you're making a crossover move now, you can carry that ball all the way across and take at least 3 steps
Yeah.
or 4 and shoot a layup.
yeah, that's
I mean, everybody in the league does. The guy does it a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
it's just a normal.
if you can get away with, I mean,
I just don't think they call it anymore.
They don't
just
call
take.
it
They
anymore.
might as well take it out of the.
It's
Yeah,
that
take it out of the
emphasis.
rule
It's that
book.
emphasis on the game being played that has taken away from some of the fundamentals of it. And
But
that's in college, but it also, I mean, also when you watch it at the high school level, there are calls like that that are not being made.
Right,
No.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
and that's a huge way to make a good move. You know, you can call. Palm it off.
I'll tell you one that I've seen more this year than I've seen in the past is giving a guy a bucket on a drive on continuation. You know, like the pros. You know, they're running in there, and they fouled him before he's taking the shot, but he takes the shot, and they go ahead and count the bucket. And
Right,
go ahead.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're right. I'm just saying they're sneaking it in to
They sure
college
are.
ball.
Yeah.
If you notice that, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
that may be put in there as a new rule. You know, that you can do that
But
and you
if
can make the call on
that one-
continuation.
I think varies by conference and cruise. Because there are some
Probably.
crews in the SEC I see that are continually letting that happen, and some that are much more 50-50 about whether they're going to let that continuation count or not.
Yeah.
And Tennessee has had that happen several times where they've had a crew that did not allow continuation.
Yeah.
Which, with the way Tennessee plays defense, is a benefit.
I can see him putting that rule in there because I just feel like college basketball is getting more and more like the pros, the way they're playing, and they want it that way because so many guys want to go on and play pro ball. They want to play that style.
Well,
Just
Mike,
like college
as you
football,
said,
getting
they're
more like
they're
the
pros
pros.
now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The charge versus the block. I mean, that's always been a deal, but that's still.
So what is the rule? I was taught you had to have your feet set.
Have to
you
be
know,
set and
but now
Yep,
it's kinda
you
like-
still can't be leaning,
I mean, is
can't
the
be
ru-
leaning, you-
has the rule
even
changed?
if your feet
or-
are set.
yeah, I think that's of course that's always a judgment call, and it's always been in there as a tough call. I think it's one of the toughest calls they make.
It is.
Is the charge and the block.
Yeah, because they had the flop in there too now.
Yeah.
You got to remember that.
Yeah, we're not so bad, but we had some players that were good on that flopping.
Oh yeah.
Just every time somebody hit them,
Yeah, there
But
you
you know
go.
that's kind of backed off a little bit. If you think about it, like it was 2 or 3 years ago, it was becoming it was looking like soccer out there for a bit. It's kind of backed off a little bit. Like you're not seeing as much of that as you once did.
Let me ask you all. Let me ask you all
why
a
he said
question.
the soccer is because if you ever seen the soccer players when they go down and they flop and then they act like they dead and then they get a little spray and then they come back up. Oh yeah, I'm alive.
Yeah, they'll fall over like they've been poleaxed and are dying, and they'll roll around on grabbing that ankle, and you would think it's been amputated.
Oh yeah.
And then after they call, they pop back up and run down the field.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask y'all a question. When y'all are practicing, did y'all practice somebody charging? You setting for a charge? Y'all practice that?
Yeah.
Because we did that in the 9th grade. You remember Coach Evans? They become a commissioner. He coached me in the 9th grade. He's like
I remember him.
He's like 6'4", 6'5", a big guy.
Yeah.
He'd run over us in practice. We'd have to set up and take a charge from him.
Yeah.
I was curious.
We
Y'all do?
practiced that. We practiced that a lot, and I got a lot of back when I played. You shot one shot. You know, if there was a foul, you didn't have to go to 7. You got a shot.
Right.
And I would set up when the other team was shooting a foul shot. I would set right there at the top of the key. Well, guys, big guys, especially big guys.
Right.
When they shoot a free throw and they turn around, they don't look. They're just running.
No,
they just
go.
run, and boy, they'd hit me, and I just hit the floor. I mean, I got a lot of calls on the foul shooter.
Right,
Running back, and me standing right there at the top of the key, run right over the top of me, and there you go. We practiced that a lot, and then jump balls. They jumped all the balls back when I played,
right.
and they could make a lot of difference. And if you had a jump ball and say you were 6'4" and you were jumping against a guy 6'9" on a tie-up, they would the coaching staff coached us to take our right hand and go over the other player's hand as we were going up, so that they couldn't extend their arm. So you would put your arm over their arm as you go up, and it was so funny because they just looked like they were going like kind of like this. They couldn't extend their arm.
Right.
And the officials were going, what happened to that guy? He didn't even get up on the play or nothing, and we get the ball, because we really practiced that because it could mean the difference in a game, getting a tie-up right at the end. You're down 1 or 2 points, and, and we got a lot of jump balls. And I never saw an official call a foul on that, on a jump ball. Never saw. Of course, that's out of the game now. It's not there. I noticed one other thing. I want to get you guys comment on it. 3-point shots. I see a lot of shooters that lean into the defensive guy where the defensive guy's just standing there pretty much straight up, or he jumps straight up, doesn't touch anybody, and then the shooter leans into the defensive guy, hits the floor,
gets fouled.
That happens
That's the
every
James-
night.
Are you seeing that a lot? or
That's
not,
the James
Tony?
Harden effect.
Yeah.
That's the James Harden effect. He mastered that in the NBA,
Right.
He sure did.
and it's translated down very quickly.
Yeah.
Drawing contact on the 3-point
I
line.
limit that down on the 3-point deal because you get 3 shots on that play right there, and that's a big deal. But I also see it sometimes on the inside where the guy's just standing there with his hands up, and the offensive player leans in going to the basket, and they call the defensive guy for the play, huh? Don't
Well, Mike, that's how I got a lot of free throws back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm forcing the contact, even though
Smart man.
Yeah. And those guys are getting called, and they're like, well, what am I supposed to do here? I'm just standing straight up with my hands up there, And
well, see, I used to yell though.
Yeah.
I used to go down in the hole, and then I used to go up, and the guy was good enough going to block it. I was like, ah! I used to yell.
Before we get out, I got one other one that I've noticed is teams taking the ball out of bounds. A lot of times they step across the line. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
They step across the line, and the official goes, well, it doesn't have anything to do with the play or anything, and they just let it go,
And the thing about that that bothers me is they let it go during the regular season, and then you get in the NCAA tournament in a close game, and then they call it.
They'll call it.
I don't think that's fair to the players to call it one way in the regular season and then call it another way when it really matters in the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do the referees have training camp or anything? Do they go to like a
a
conference?
Sure.
or-
I'm sure they do.
Apparently they're not listening on a lot
Hey,
of
I'll
stuff.
tell you what. I know we've brought some things up here. I've tried to be constructive about it. And I'm not really, saying
be
they're
a
doing.
first for this
I don't
show.
want to leave the impression they're doing a horrible job because I think they got
No.
I think they got a really tough job out there. And I think for the most part they've done a really good job all year long in the Southeastern Conference. And I've just noticed some of these things, and I'm sure everybody's noticed those watching the games.
But at least the officiating for basketball, in my opinion, has been better than it was for football.
And you have to wonder with what we're doing with college athletics in Division I and NIL and the money that's become involved.
Yeah.
How long we're going to continue this part-time position for game officials in college for Division I, and before we do what the professional leagues are, where that is their full-time job and that is what they do, and to keep other outside influences from taking an impact on it.
The only thing I would like to see is when something happens on the court, blow your whistle.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
Blow your whistle. Don't go over there and all three officials to decide what happened.
Well,
on that
maybe
one
they
play.
just didn't have a backup whistle, and one of those little balls had fallen out of the thing, and they couldn't. They were blowing it, and nothing was coming out.
Yeah. I get tickled at them sometimes because there'll be a real close play on an out of bounds, the ball going out of bounds, and they'll just kind of look at each other, and somebody will go, well. Yeah, I'll give it to them right here.
Yeah, they're afraid to blow their whistle. I think sometimes.
Yeah.
Let the other guy blow it first. Or
Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight segment, and Donnie Moore will be up, and then I'll return to talk some more UT basketball. You're listening to the GoTee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd's Sports Spotlight. And if you heard that last moan right there before we went to commercial, that was Dwayne Easter, and he is fine. He is fine, and we didn't have to call 911 or any of the medical crew here, Donnie Moore.
This is true.
We all
could have been a whole lot worse.
We all jumped right there, but everything's okay.
Well, I was doing what Tony said he did in the ball games. I was just trying it out.
All right, Donnie Moore, sports headline.
Let's do it. Our traditional segment here is called Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by the good people at Fast Signs.
Go.
The Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards was ejected in the third quarter of the team's 111-102 loss to the LA Lakers on Thursday after his second technical foul of the evening. Because the final tee was his 16th of the season, Edwards earned not only the ejection but also was suspended for the team's next game versus the Utah Jazz. Edwards, who has been fined for his behavior numerous times this season, will probably be fined for the latest incident as well. But AE likely isn't worried about the money. He is in the initial season of a 5-year, $260 million contract.
You know, it's always guys like that gives us Edwards as a bad name.
I know that. I thought about that.
Huh?
Thought about that. Well, the Golden State Warriors took care of the Orlando Magic 121-115 on Thursday. The Warriors were down by 14 points and trailed by as many as 17. But sharpshooter Steph Curry saved the day with 56 points. including 12
He was
three-pointers made. He was in the zone.
He was unreal.
Out of his mind. Curry scored 22 points in under 10 minutes of the third quarter, outscoring the Magic all by himself.
Yeah, he was, wow.
He was putting
in
in
the
the hole,
zone.
wasn't he? He was,
Oh,
indeed.
my goodness.
Well, the NFL offseason is here, but that certainly doesn't mean that all teams are dormant. Signings and trades become official on March 12th, and the franchise tag window has been open since mid-February. All teams are permitted to franchise one of their pending free agents from now through 4 p.m. Eastern Time on March 4th. The one-year tag, which is fully guaranteed, is worth either the average of the top 5 salaries at the player's position or 120% of the player's most recent salary, whichever is greater. The Kansas City Chiefs pick for the franchise tag is Trey Smith, our VFL offensive guard, who is the top free agent on the team.
Wow.
So he's franchised now. Trey is. He was looking to go to another team, and he thinks he'll stay with the KC Chiefs now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would.
I would too.
I would too.
The San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich addressed his team Thursday and revealed that he will not return to the bench this season. The future looks uncertain for Popo after he suffered a mild stroke on November 2nd prior to the Spurs-Timberwolves game at Frostbank Center in San Antonio.
Wow. I
So
wish
he's
him the
not
best.
coming back. Me too.
I wish him
Me
the
too.
best. Great coach.
Diana Taurasi, 3-time WNBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, and the 2009 League Most Valuable Player, and the WNBA's all-time leading scorer, too, by the way.
Wow.
Announced her retirement from the league on Tuesday. Taurasi, 42 years of age, still playing.
Wow.
Played for 20 seasons in the WNBA for the Phoenix Mercury.
And that doesn't count. She played several of those seasons where she played WNBA and then went overseas and played in other leagues.
Oh yeah, she's multiple gold medal winner too in the Olympics.
Just to make the money,
right?
Because
exactly.
when she's with the WNBA from the beginning, where they were making
when they
$18,000
when they weren't paying for their meat like laundry money, Mike, getting laundry money.
Yeah,
there you go.
NASCAR's Cup Series rolls into Austin, Texas tomorrow for the 2025 Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. The first road race of the young season will be an 18-turn, 2.356-mile road course at the Circuit of the Americas, affectionately known as COTA.
Yeah.
The 95-lap race fires up at 3:30 p.m. William Byron, who won at Daytona last week, is the defending champ. So,
Well, there won't be as many dents.
no, absolutely
that
not.
road course.
Not on a road course.
Yeah.
Hip-hop star Pitbull announced yesterday that he has ended his partnership with Cup Series team Trackhouse Racing and will be leaving his role as team co-owner effective immediately. Pitbull, along with former driver Justin Marks, had owned the team since 2021. Trackhouse entered 4 cars in the Daytona 500, driven by Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen, and 4-time Indy 500 champ Elio Castroneves. Pretty big names on that Trackhouse Racing, and for them not to have been around for long. Washington Capitals star Alex Ovechkin, we've mentioned him before in this segment. He's now only 12 goals from breaking Wayne Gretzky's career goals record of 894.
Wow.
Now, so since we're on hockey, Donnie, because we don't get to NHL very often on this show. Tonight's the Stadium Series.
Yeah.
It's going to be played. It's up at Ohio State Stadiums, Detroit versus Columbus. And I just looked it up. Game time temperature is 33 degrees, which is 9 degrees warmer than when Tennessee played Ohio State in that stadium in football game.
No kidding.
Wow.
Good grief. Well, anyway, Ovechkin has scored 4 goals in the last 4 games, adding a hat trick, which is 3 goals, of course, versus the Edmonton Oilers last Sunday. So he's well on his way to breaking the record before the end of the regular season.
He has a shot at it.
He does.
And, you know.
Depends on how consistent he is.
I still go back to the how many games does it take for you to do it sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you do that measuring stick, some of these things, like it kind of equals out some of the things where we're changing about how many games they played and how, because some of these sports you counted the postseason at one point and then you didn't count it at another point, and it changes some of these numbers.
It does. Well, let's do a few on this day in sports items right here. March 1st, 1964, Cincinnati's Jerry Lucas and Oscar Big O Robertson combined for a rare 40-40 performance as the Royals beat the 76ers at Philly 117-114. NBA MVP Robertson scored 43 points, and the Rookie of the Year, Lucas, pulled down 40 rebounds in that game. Wow. Goodness. That was some performance, wasn't it?
Well, a lot of people couldn't score back then, huh?
I liked him, man.
He's great.
He got 40 rebounds.
1972, future Hall of Fame right fielder Hank Aaron becomes the first player to earn $200,000 average annual salary. Signed a deal with the Braves for 3 years.
Wow.
Well, he'd be making more than that today.
I would imagine you're right. $200 million.
Of course, I know 200,000 back then was a lot.
It was a lot of money.
Right.
Right. 1976. Moving on to 76, the bicentennial year. Legendary driver Richard Petty wins the only Winston Cup race run on Leap Day. This was February 29th. Carolina 500. He at Rockingham. Petty won by 2 laps over Darrell Waltrip.
Wow.
2 laps. Yeah.
The
2 laps.
That's a short track, isn't it? Rockingham.
Rockingham, it's short track.
I think it
half
is.
mile, I think.
Yeah.
Now, that's the one that they've just brought back, right? Rockingham, the one they just refurbished?
I think so.
Where they found the old beer cellar underneath there?
I think so, yeah. 1992, Boston's Ray Burke becomes only the 3rd defenseman in NHL history to score 1,000 career points, with a goal and 2 assists in the Bruins' 5-5 tie with the Washington Capitals at Boston Garden. Birthdays, couple of birthdays of note. Number one's in 1836, born on this day, Dickie Pierce, American baseball shortstop. He pioneered the shortstop position, and he also introduced the bunt to the game. Wasn't used before Dickie Pierce.
Right.
He is also a manager of the New York Mutuals. You ever heard of them? I haven't.
No.
New York Mutuals, the St. Louis Brown Stockings.
The Brown Stockings?
The St. Louis Brown Stockings, yeah.
Huh.
And was born in Brooklyn, New York, died in 1908.
Wow.
Long time ago. 1940, born on this day, Monty Kiffin. You know that name, American football coach. Won a Super Bowl. Won Super Bowl 37 with the Tampa Bay Bucks as their defensive coordinator. He was an NCAA champion in 1970 and 71 with the University of Nebraska as their defensive coordinator, famed for his defenses. Born in Lexington, Nebraska. Lexington, Nebraska. Died last year in 2024.
Wow.
Yep. A couple of deaths on this note on this date. 1976, George Rube Foster. Was a pitcher. Pitched in World Series 1915 and 1916. Threw a no-hitter in 1916. Played for the Red Sox and died at the age of 88.
That's just not a nickname you hear anymore, is it?
Rube? No.
It used to be common, but
it did.
It kind of disappeared, I guess, somewhere in
Went out of fashion.
Somewhere in the 90s.
Yeah. Also died on this day in 2015, Minnie Minoso.
Yeah, my dad used to call him Minnie So-and-so.
Minnie So-and-so, the Cuban Baseball Hall of Famer, left fielder, 9-time Major League Baseball All-Star, Gold Glove winner in 1957, 59, and 60. Played for the White Sox and died at the age of 92.
Wow.
Good player.
He sure was. Well, that's it for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. I'm I'm Donnie Moore. Back to you, Gunner.
Norman Dale died last week.
Norman Dale.
Gene Hackman. Movie
Yeah.
Hoosiers.
Movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all seen that
And
movie
it's
Hoosiers?
still under investigation, too. That's a suspicious circumstances.
Yeah,
there.
Yes, it
that's
is.
you know, all those scenes in Hoosiers was shot right outside my hometown, the gym and all of that. And
Yeah.
I got something to share right here. if
yeah,
you
go
got a
ahead.
second.
Yeah, looks like
It's
you got
Mullins becomes the GC's all-time leading scorer in regular season
last
finale.
week in my hometown.
But I was looking through the article here, and there's a point in here. It says prior to the consolidation of Greenfield and Hancock Central High Schools, Mike Edwards scored 2,343 points from 1965 to 1969. They've got your name in that.
Wow.
article.
Wow, that must have been the Greenfield Reporter, is it, or the Indianapolis Star? Or somewhere?
It's high school sports, but yeah, that was the headlines.
Great thing about our school there, we were the last class that graduated from that school, so moved into Greenfield Central. So all of our records stand. We don't play anymore.
Never be broken.
Never be broken.
But you had more points than he did.
Yeah, he's at Greenfield. He's had a tremendous year there. I think he's got 2,065, and I was at 2,343.
Yeah, but you didn't.
So
You didn't have three.
No, he's got the three-point shot, but he's had a great year. He's got great range. He can shoot the three-pointer. He can take it to the basket. He's 6'5". He's taller than I would. And of course, he's signed to play at Connecticut for Danny Hurley next year. I've mentioned him several times on the show.
Right.
But he did break a record there last week at Greenfield Central. I think that record stood for 25, 26 years. I mean, it'd been a long time.
Yeah, it's in
and
an article there.
he's got everybody excited back up there, and that's good. It's good for the community and school.
If he had a shot at breaking your record, if he was like at 2,300 points, would you've gone up to the game to see him break it? It wouldn't be your record because it's
if I went up there, they play on Friday and Saturday. See, I wouldn't be able to be with Tony and you guys here on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it would be a big decision, but I'd have to weigh all the.
That's right.
I'd have to weigh all the things, but I'd probably be up there.
That sets some priorities.
I'm really happy for him, and I've mentioned him several times here on the show, and I they're getting ready to start their state tournament on Tuesday. And they haven't won a sectional, which is the first in 27 years. I think I said 26. It's actually 27, so it's been a long time.
Wow.
So they're all excited up there that this may be the year that they can make a good run. And they've got an outstanding team. It's not just Braylon. They've got several other players on that team that can play too. So I'm happy for them. I'm glad they've had a great year, and he's had a great career there. He's played 4 years of varsity basketball and brought everybody a lot of great moments.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So you and Tony are both you both got banners out in the concourse, not as Dwayne is trying to get the number in the arena floor, but
the All Century team.
So did y'all get like jackets for that? Like, do you have an orange jacket in the closet you can wear to like some of these Hall of Fame type things?
Yeah, they gave us an orange blazer.
You got your blazer,
I
don't you?
did, but it didn't fit. I gave it to my son. My son's got it, and he works for Enterprise Leasing. He wears it to business meetings, when they're playing stuff.
Go Vols.
Yeah, mine didn't fit. It was too big for me, I guess, or something. I didn't have the right size. What, Tony, you got one too, didn't you?
Yes, I gave it to my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was too big. Way
They didn't size us up good or something there, did they?
Nah.
It just feels like you see the guys get those Hall of Fame jackets for the NFL, the gold jacket. And it's like, when do you ever wear that again? That's what I've always wondered. I just didn't know if you all had something like that.
Yeah, I still got my orange blazer from when I played over here.
Really?
It don't fit, but I still got it, and got my Letterman's coat and freshman sweater, and they gave us a I believe the first year they gave us a sweater, and then that was my sophomore year.
Okay.
And in my junior year we got our letter jacket.
Oh, okay.
And in my senior year they gave us a blanket with our name on it, real nice wool blanket. I got all three of those things. It's the only three things I ever won, over there. So never got any awards, or trophies.
Tony, did you get a blanket? Do you feel left out?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't get a blanket.
That's too bad. He freezes at all the football games.
I didn't get a blanket at all. So
Leather
jacket. I got a leather jacket for lettering, but they didn't give me a leather jacket. You understand? I mean, it was totally different.
Oh, you got a letter.
I got a leather jacket for playing varsity sports for 4 years.
I see.
But they didn't actually give us a jacket.
Oh, I got a nice jacket. It's
See,
nice.
see,
got
see,
real
that's what I'm
leather
saying.
arm, orange, and looks like.
But-
my wife used to say I look like Archie of the comic books. You remember Archie back in his day? Wore the,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a different time. I mean, but they was more courtesy back then, with Mike now. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You couldn't even get tennis shoes, could you? Too?
Oh, man, it was terrible. Oh, it was terrible, man. I had to cut mine to get some extra ones. Oh, really?
That's sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Tennessee basketball great Tony White and Alcoa basketball standout Dwayne Easter. And wanted to talk a little bit about the SEC schedule today because there are about 4 or 5 really good games. Auburn's at Kentucky. I'll start with you, Dwayne. Auburn's up there at Kentucky, and Kentucky can score a lot of points. Shoots the ball. They shoot the ball real well on the outside. Auburn, they're solid pretty much they're all the way around. To me, they're the best team in college basketball right now. But can Kentucky pull the upset up there today?
I don't think so. I think Auburn's just so tough, and Broom. I mean, he's tough. It's just.
Yeah, it's been amazing to me that they have played so well in have only lost one conference game. I know they got veteran players, but Tony, one loss at this point that's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
with the talent,
it is.
with the talent that's in this league from top to bottom.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And Bruce Pearl, if this continues, it's going to make the coach of the year really hard because there's some other coaches. The Missouri coach is doing real well. The Vanderbilt coach is doing very, very well. But gosh, if Bruce Pearl continues to do what he's done and only goes through the regular season with one loss, it's going to be pretty hard to keep him out being coach of the year. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an unbelievable accomplishment, I think.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Mike. Wow.
Yeah.
We said back in December that we didn't think anybody could do that.
No.
We didn't see anybody coming through this league with less than 2 or 3 losses.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
And he's got some tough games coming up here. He's got Kentucky today. He's got to go to play Alabama, at their place.
Yeah.
So, he's got some tough stuff left, but pretty amazing right now.
And I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you're pulled for Auburn today because you want Kentucky to have that extra loss, and it kind of helps Tennessee's SEC tournament position.
Yeah. Texas A&M, Tony kind of got there on the skids a little bit.
Yeah.
They've dropped down to number 12 in the rankings, and they're going to Florida. And there's 2 teams that are coming off losses. Florida had a loss there at Georgia.
Right.
There the other night, got down 26. I don't know how that happened, but they did and came back and almost won the game. But Texas A&M, they got a tough deal at Florida today. That's a tough place to play down there.
Oh yeah. I'd take Florida today on that one.
Yeah. I was listening to one of the announcers there on TV, Barkley, and he was saying there last week that the team in the league that scares him the most is Florida. He says he says they're big inside, they got the outside people, they play pretty good defense, and he says they scare him a little bit. But
they haven't been playing quite as well here lately, though, have they? Or
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, man. It seems like some games they get up, and then some games they just don't show. I mean, they just don't. How you say?
Yeah.
They're just not playing consistent.
They got down there 26. I mentioned there the other night, and Georgia did everything they could do to give them the game right there at the end. They just wouldn't take it.
Exactly.
Here, I'm giving it to you. Take it.
Right.
And they wouldn't take it.
And that Kane kid hit that big shot, didn't he? It played over here to a Catholic, whatever.
Yeah, the Kane kid.
Yeah.
Blue Kane from
But
Nashville.
that's the thing when Mike was talking about that drives him crazy about Tennessee is Florida's thing is such about spacing and floor spacing, and they're really good at it.
Right.
But it's incredibly dependent on the outside shot.
Exactly.
And when you're going to have off nights like that.
Yeah.
And if the difference between hitting 9 and hitting 12 is a big impact on Florida as to how they're doing.
Yeah. Well, we do thank Georgia for beating them the other night because that does open up that number 1 seed a little bit more for Tennessee going into today's game. Some other interesting games that we got on here. Missouri really shoots it from the outside. I mean, they deep shoot. They got some really good deep shooters out there, which really poses some problems for you because it extends your defense for one thing. But they're number 14 in the country, and they're going to Vanderbilt, and Tony Vanderbilt's played really well at home.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real interesting game on today's schedule.
I'll take
Your thought.
Vanderbilt today.
Yeah.
I would,
mean,
but
I'm
you
just
know what I
saying.
like about that game? You might see more 3-point attempts than 2-point attempts in that game.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's hard. That's
true.
entirely
You,
possible.
because we've seen Vanderbilt in the way they can put up the 3.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's no 3 defenses written on that blackboard before that ball. I'm definitely going to watch that in the day, Tony.
I know, I know.
There won't be a need for a 3-second call because none of the
Yeah.
10 players will be inside the 3-point line.
Yeah,
at any
there's,
point.
and I mean they shoot some deep threes too. I mean it's not just right there at the line. I mean they're putting it up from way downtown.
Yeah.
Right.
A couple of teams that are really fighting for NCAA berths. Georgia coming off that big win against Florida, which Dwayne really helped them last week for their NCAA hopes. And then Texas is fighting for their life too,
Right.
and they're playing each other today. So that's a big game for
that
both
is a
of
big
those
game.
schools, isn't it?
That is a big
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, what is that, Texas?
That's out down in Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Texas down there, but they're just they're kind of up and down. And, Georgia's, they're better at home. But Georgia's got a couple, they beat Kentucky at home. And, they got the Florida win. I mean, they've lost some games, but they've got some quality wins.
Yeah, they look good the
Yeah.
other day.
Yeah. Outside of that, and then, of course, we've talked about Alabama being at Tennessee and how big a game that is. But around the league today, got some very interesting games, Marcus.
I think it's a big Saturday. I think there's a lot of the final shuffling outside of Alabama. I think the final shuffling is pretty much coming down to today.
Right.
There's some other stuff that can happen over the next 2 games before we get done, but I think this is moving day. If you're going to make your move, you're going to have to win today.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to know here pretty soon, within the next few weeks, and every game that these teams play is going to be important because, they're talking 12, 13 teams being in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
You don't want to take a dive right here at the end of the year and hurt your chances of getting in. So every game
Exactly.
makes up. And Tony was good to bring up this morning that South Carolina finally won a SEC game. So
I told you. Yeah.
and looked pretty good.
Yeah,
and
they
I
did.
told everybody they're a tournament team. They're just hanging around waiting for the tournament. So that's it. I don't know. New
You know,
life
you
I
say
guess.
that in jest, and we'll wait and see what happens in Nashville.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, we'll be back to close out today's show. You're listening to the GoTee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net.
We're back on the GoTee Sports Page, and this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I want to remind everybody out there that you're listening to the GoTee Sports Page on WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM on your radio dial, the station that plays the greatest music of all time. WKCE is my home station, and I hope you will make it yours. WKCE, where the music of the past lives today. You know, I listen to that station.
Mid-century
I get
radio.
in my car. I've got that station on. I've got that station on at home. If I'm washing my car, I'm outside. I got it on. And
Good stuff.
Tony, it brings back a lot of great memories for me because back in my day, you know, all the music they play on this radio station was going back in the '60s. So you know, I'd go to the gym with a transistor radio and I'd put it on and I'd listen to all these old songs.
Yeah.
And you know, basketball's all about rhythm. You know,
Sure
it's all
is.
dribbling the ball, your movement, your shooting, and the Beach Boys are on, and I'm going up and down the floor. And I'm going. You just don't. You don't lose that music.
It doesn't get any better than that.
And I don't know what the deal's going on today. They get the rap going on and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you can get that rhythm. Dwayne, the same with that you could get back when the Beach Boys and Four Seasons was going. I don't know.
I still listen to the old music. I like it. You can't beat it.
Yeah, Jan and Dean and all of that. I mean, you can't hardly beat it. Great radio station, and I'm glad that we're a part of their programming on Saturday
Appreciate
morning.
Aaron Ishmael's sponsorship.
Yeah, they do a great job. Now I'm here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Dwayne Easter and Tony White, and I've ran the gamut right here. But I want to talk a little bit about what I saw this morning, and maybe a lot of you people out there hadn't seen it. But we've had a lot of discussion here this morning about it, so I guess we ought to go ahead and finish up the show a little bit with it. But we've talked for years about Pete Rose, whether he should be in the Hall of Fame, and there's pros and cons to that. It's just, I guess it's sort of like politics. It's split right down the middle, 50-50, in this country on Pete Rose. But I look on ESPN this morning, and Dwayne, it's on there that President Trump is looking to pardon Pete Rose. and I listen out there, if you haven't heard the news, this is not fake news, and this is not a joke. He is looking to pardon him. And
he issued an announcement last night.
That's exactly right, Marcus. And I want to go around the table, and I want to get everybody's feelings about it. And Marcus, we'll start with you, huh?
Well, let me clarify at first is that what the president said last night was he is looking to pardon Pete Rose, and that he is encouraging Major League Baseball to put him in the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm not sure what he is pardoning him for. I don't recall there being criminal charges that he didn't already serve his sentence for. So I'm guessing he's pardoning him for the baseball. I don't know how that works.
He's been a prisoner from baseball's Hall of Fame.
Oh, well, however you want to say it.
Okay. Okay. That's the best I can do with what you're asking.
But so here's what I guess I've come down on the Charlie Paleo side of this, that I've always thought Pete should have been left out because of what he did, because he bet on baseball while he was playing baseball. However, since that is now not the thing it used to be, that we see players doing it and they're not banned for life, they get like 10-game suspensions or whatever when they get caught doing this, is that I'm kind of in the position, you know what, he's dead, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do it now that he's gone. If you didn't want to do it while he was still alive to give him the satisfaction, now that he's gone, go ahead and put him in. Yeah. I think the time has passed and the statute of limitations will be over on it.
Donnie Moore, this has been something that's been in baseball from really kind of the very beginning.
Yeah,
and it was brought back more when they had the Black Sox scandal there in 1919. That's where we've gotten today, and it's just never really changed. But you need to understand a little bit that Paul Hornung, and we've talked about, and Alex Karras, were suspended from football for gambling on football games, but they were suspended and then reinstated.
Yep. Got to come back and
play.
play.
Didn't keep them out of being recognized the Hall of Fames or whatever other awards that they got. So I guess I'm putting the question out there. If that's kind of the way it was in football, why should it be that much different in baseball?
Maybe just from the standpoint of tradition, I would imagine, since it's been that way in baseball for all this time, that you don't bet on the game.
And it's not MLB, but last spring we did this with University of Alabama's baseball coach, who was betting on baseball, and he got a 15-year ban from the NCAA. Now it's not the same as MLB, but it still does happen in sports, and it still does. It's easier to do it now than it used to be because of digital and betting on your phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Dwayne, you like Pete Rose, and you're pretty adamant. You feel like he should be in, huh?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether the president, pardons him or not.
I kind of think he should be in. I mean, he was a super player to watch. Big Red Machine. I remember just how he hustled, sliding into bases, and of course he hit over 4,000 hits, I believe, whatever. And I mean, the guy, you know, in his later years, he was kind of arrogant there, but in his later years, he was apologizing, you know, and trying to, you know, knew he had done something he regretted. So my thing is, you know, he was good for it baseball when he was playing. I mean, there's a lot of people liked watching the Reds, you know, play, and I just feel like he should be in. I mean, yeah, he did wrong, but he admitted it, and so that's my take on it.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
Tony White?
Well, look, hey, I'm just saying now with all the betting going on, they're betting on everything right now. So I'm just saying it's a different time, different era, but I'm just saying if you have to look at his stats and everything that he has actually done for baseball, yeah, everybody make mistakes, but I just think personally myself that he should be in. I mean, I think they're a little tough on Pete because the commissioner
Didn't like him, I don't think.
Oh man, he didn't like him at
Well,
all.
that was, you know, that's the thing. Pete was easy not to like.
Yeah, he was.
I mean,
True.
if you want to make a comparison, he was the Dale Earnhardt of baseball.
True.
He was fans liked him, but there were a lot of players that did not like Pete Rose.
Players
Yeah.
and upper management people, you can say
So
that
I
much.
mean, it's easy. It's easy to see how this thing could go various ways, but
Right.
I wish we had Charlie here because I'm not even sure where he would come on the ballot now. If Major League Baseball were to allow him to come on, I'm not sure if he would come on the regular baseball writers ballot because he's never been on there, or if he'd have to come through the Veterans Committee because it's been so long since he played.
That's true.
I'm not sure exactly which ballot process
Maybe a
he would have
special
to go
ballot
through.
just for him.
But if as hard as he played, I'd want a teammate like that. It goes out there every day and gives his 100%. I mean, the way he slid into bases and got base hits, that's the kind of guy I'd want to.
And if you're a bookie, you'd want him betting on the game because he lost his tail doing it. You know.
Yeah.
No,
But he didn't bet on his team. See, my biggest thing.
That's a good point. He didn't bet on his team.
My biggest thing is on this right now is that all this free betting that everybody can bet right now.
Yeah.
That's what's killing me now. That you can even.
Yeah.
You're betting sometimes. I think people betting on their team.
And NIL's legal now. I mean, they give them kids money, you know, millions of dollars. So
who would ever thought of that?
Yeah.
Donnie Moore, you know, as we've gone around the table, everybody's mentioned, well, you know, times are different. You know, they're giving NIL money, they're betting on sports now, and it's more of a common thing than it was back when Pete played. But I don't know whether that's for the good or not. I mean, if you're looking at you remember the movie "It's a Wonderful Life"? Donnie, are we in Pottersville? Huh? Are we in Pottersville?
We appear to be sometimes. Man,
that's what I'm trying to figure out here. If it's Pottersville or not.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it is, and I don't know. You got the president involved in something like this, and Marcus, in some respects, I think he's really got more important things going on than maybe to worry about what's going on in Major League Baseball with the guys being eligible for the Hall of Fame. But
well, again, I go back to I understand the sentiment, but this isn't criminal charges. We're talking about something that is a rule of Major League Baseball. I'm not sure that's a pardonable offense.
Well,
it's not a crime.
Well, it's almost like if it's a rule of baseball, and obviously it's a golden rule. I mean, it's been around a long time. What's that compared to? Well, it would almost be like the Constitution, wouldn't it? I mean, if you're comparing it to
I think those are different.
Well, I know, but I mean, it's Major League Baseball's rules and guidelines. That's what they're going by, so to speak, is it not?
But they betting. But see, my thing is now, is that rule still in effect?
Yeah, that rule's still in effect.
Really?
Yeah.
But they still betting.
Well, the thing is,
okay, talk to
they
me.
have last year we had players suspended for betting in the clubhouse on their phones. They have digital security fences around the baseball facilities that anybody who accesses one of the betting sites on their phone, it is tagged, recorded, and reported.
So, did they ban them?
They served a suspension, but they did not get a lifetime ban.
Ah, see, this is where we at.
Yeah.
See, look how generous we are now.
Yeah.
But you're going to ban somebody.
Yeah.
But now you're doing it on the phones,
Yeah.
and then you're going to, okay, we're going to suspend you for what? We're going to give you 15 games, maybe.
To me, that's even worse, right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Attitude's certainly changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, the fear was always
What'd you
It
say, we're in
wasn't that-
Pottersville or something?
it wasn't that
Yeah.
it wasn't so much that they were suspecting players would throw games because of a bet they made. It was always the concern was that they would get in debt to a bookie and then be forced to compromise the game to pay off a debt. That was
Right.
always the primary concern.
Yep. Yep. Well, anyway, good discussion. We'll see how all that plays out. And I know, Donnie, we're getting down near the end of the show. I want to close a little bit about, we mentioned that Gene Hackman died last week, and he was in the movie Hoosiers.
It was
Very
great. Yeah, I liked
very
that.
popular movie. And Dennis Hopper. Remember Dennis? He played the town drunk, who was a
Right.
former player and
Good movie.
so forth. He ended up being the assistant coach on the team. Everybody loved that movie. But
Old Chester.
let me tell you what really happened. Jack Nicholson was that was their first pick. Was Jack to play that part? He turned it down, and he told the guys that were going to do the movie, he says, "You need to go out and get Hackman. Hackman will do it." Well, they went out and got him, and Hackman really didn't want to do it because he thought it was, reading the script and everything, that it was the corniest movie that he had ever heard, read a script for.
Right.
And his agent said, "Well, really, you need it. You need to go ahead and try it. Give it a try." So he does. And he gets there and he films about halfway through it, and he calls Dennis Hopper over. He says, "Dennis, what do you think about what's going on here?" And Dennis says, "Well, we're about halfway through the filming and
Well,
and
Mr.
everything."
Dillon?
Yeah, we're about halfway through the filming, and Hackman looks at him and he says, "Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think if this movie even gets out, if it even gets out," he said, "it's not going to do any good, and we're never going to work again." That's what he told Dennis Hopper.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he told Dennis Hopper. Right? But the movie, obviously, it did well.
It did well.
It did
I
well,
liked
and
it.
it came out in 1986, and it's still going strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who has the rights to it, but if I was NBC or ABC, I would have that ready to go up against the March Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the same guys that did that movie did Rudy.
Yeah.
The movie
Right,
Rudy, they
right,
did
right.
the same deal. So two pretty good movies right there. Inspirational.
What was that
There you
other movie back, probably in the 70s, kid, where the coach was really hard on him and he's trying to run him off, basically? The only one, or I forget the name of that movie.
Yeah.
I forget that. Do you remember that movie from the 70s?
I was just thinking Bad News Bears. There were so many sports movies in the 70s like that.
Before we get out, the gym that they played in there at Hoosiers, it's in Knightstown, right outside my hometown.
Right.
But the team picture, that they showed at the end of the film of the guys that was on that team, Hackman wanted that picture. He gave it to his dad.
Oh, really?
And several years ago, after his dad passed away, he gave it back to the gym. So
Oh,
it's
really?
back on the wall there, right there in the gym. Was kind of an interesting story. Donnie Moore, blow that whistle. It's been a great day. Thanks for all of you coming here and being a part of the sports page this morning.
Glad to be a part.
Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Tony White, and Dwayne Easter, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best in local